first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibler. This is Fox 12 Now, and as always, thank you for joining us wherever it is that you are watching. We appreciate it. That could be on our social media channels, could be on our apps, could be on our website. Thanks for being here. We get to have some great discussions here. We talk about all kinds of things across the gamut of news, and right now we're talking about some entertainment that's happening at Portland Center Stage, and it is a new performance here in town that's going to be here through December 24th for Dracula, but not Bram Stoker's Dracula exactly like you remember it. It's a new take on it, and that's what we're going to be discussing right now. We have Kamilah Bush joining us from Portland Center Stage, the literary manager, which I love that title. I want to find out more about that. But Kamilah, thank you very much for joining us.
Excited to be here.
So I guess to start off, since I did bring up the title, can you tell me what a literary manager is?
Oh, sure. It's many things. One of my favorite things is I get to do things like this and talk about the shows out in the world. But I am the person who helps. I read lots of plays and I help plan seasons. And so I read a lot of plays and I recommend them to our artistic director, and we come up with what we're going to do every year together. And then also I am what's also called a dramaturg, which is a fun word to say. And I do research and build context for the people making the show. So it's my job to go, there were no cell phones in 1920.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure on both of those, but also a lot of fun. So if a period piece comes in, you're like, okay, no, 1910, this kind of collared shirt didn't exist then, or something like that.
Exactly, things like that.
That's great. Well, talking about picking, reading so many different plays and things that you get sent, I'm sure that's a lot to try to decide what it is that you're going to be putting on for the year. I mean, it's pretty prestigious to be on at Portland Center Stage. So tell us about this performance. Tell us about Dracula, and what is it that drew you to this?
Well, this is actually called Dracula, a feminist revenge fantasy, really. And one of the things that we loved about this play is, first of all, it's written by Kate Hamill, who wrote Holmes and Watson, if you saw that in our last season. And Kate is just one of the smartest playwrights in the world, honestly. And she does these beautiful adaptations of known works and makes them fun, fast, feminist. And so this one, we were like, it's spooky, it's funny, it's scary in all of the right ways, and it tells a story that we all know, but in a new way that we can all engage with in our current time.
And that's, I think, just a really interesting way to go about it. So Dracula, I mean, tell me how, and obviously we don't want any spoilers, but how do you turn Dracula into a feminist story?
By centering Mina in the story. If you know, Jonathan Harker is the person who meets Dracula first, and his wife Mina is there, and her friend Lucy is the person who Dracula wants to take. That's all in the original story. But in our version of the play, in Kate's version of the play, Mina is really central to the plot and catching the big bad that's happening in the world. And also there's a lot of language that Kate infuses in the play that we, for our modern ears, we will understand as ways that people demean women. But she has taken it in the ways that vampires infect the world. And so that's kind of what we end up fighting as we go through this story.
That makes sense in a lot of ways. I mean, not a way I would draw that together, but that's brilliant. So obviously, she's brilliant. So talking about this performance here, it's been, well, tell people, about Portland Center Stage, just in case they don't know, and what to expect when they come to a performance there.
Yeah, Portland Center Stage is my favorite place on earth, to be honest. We are housed in the Armory downtown, and we just have a lovely staff. You will be greeted with love when you walk into our building, but you can go into our main space and see Dracula, or you can go downstairs and have Liza and Liberace and have a little holiday bite with you. But we are just, you can come in, and our stages are, it's the set designed by Diggle. If you saw Hair, just that we closed just a few weeks ago, this set is a reimagining of the Hair set designed by the same person. So you can kind of say, I saw it this way, and now it's this way. And we have a host of local talent on our stages. Some folks you may have seen before, like Treasure Loonan, who's been in several of our shows, Ashley Thompson, who's been in several of our shows, and some new folks to us, like Cicely Ash and Seta Waninkolo. That it's a great cast and a fun show that's gonna make you scared and make you think and make you laugh, and you're gonna have a great time.
That's a great combo of all of those. And I've got actually some images here just from the performance, just to kind of give a little context of it. Well, we'll see. Of course, it's not going to play out for me, but well, maybe not. And said I'm going to break the system. So we're live, but trust me, it looks amazing. But yeah, looking at a performance like this, what does it take to put this together? You mentioned, just the set. I imagine a huge cast. How long does it take to put something like this on?
Yeah, we usually rehearse for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then we move into what's called tech, and that's when the lighting designer, the sound designer, the set designer, the costume designer, and they all come together and help put all of the fun things that y'all see on top of what we've made in a rehearsal hall, or collaborate with those things, and that takes about a week. And then we also have previews which we're in right now. The actors are performing at night for live audiences, and then they're rehearsing in the day for things that we want to change, that we listened for, that we heard. The way that audiences respond during previews really helps shape what the show becomes by opening. And so we're really excited about that process. Altogether,
yeah, right. I mean, and I think that's an interesting about it too. I mean, this really it's a living, breathing, artwork that you're putting on. So it can change. You may be all written, but then, yeah, once you get in front of an audience, it's like, oh, well, this plays better here. This does something different over there. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of people. And that's what I love about theater. It's so collaborative, and there are so many people. One, a person whose job it is just to do the blood, And right. So it's very important that we have every single person in the room to make this thing.
Looking at it from a broader context, I would love to hear, how you feel about this. Why do you think it is so important for people to engage in theater and stage arts like this, to even to go see them?
Yeah, there's no other art form like this. We can go see live concerts, and you should. You should go see dance. You should go to the opera. You should do all of these things. But to have like living, breathing people in front of you telling a story, it's the oldest tradition we have as human beings. Is sitting around a campfire and just telling stories to each other. And so I think that the theater is a magical place. We all sit together and agree to be in the dark and just go on a journey together. And so I think that it's just the most magical thing you can do. And all you have to do is sit there, and it's I really, really think that theater is just one of the most important things we have as art form, as human beings, the way to engage. You're sitting next to your neighbor. You might not know this person, but y'all are gonna jump at the same things. You're gonna laugh at the same things. You're gonna be reminded that you're part of a community, and have fun while you're doing it.
All of that sounds amazing. I mean, that's fantastic. Well, for everybody out there who wants to go see Dracula, and can you give them again the full title and when, where, and how they can go?
Yes, it is Dracula, a feminist revenge fantasy, really, at Portland Center Stage. We're downtown. We're in the Pearl District. Come by and see us anytime. We'd be happy to have you.
Well, Kamilah, thank you very much for joining me here. I love your enthusiasm about everything that you're doing, and that's a lot of pressure that you have, but obviously you enjoy it. So thanks for doing that and helping to curate all of that, and appreciate you being here on Fox 12 Now with me today. Yeah,
thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
Yes, same. And thank you everybody for joining us here too. So again, these are some of the things, I like to remind everybody, this is part of what we get to do here with this show. We get to have all kinds of conversations, longer form conversations, talking to people in the community, talking about issues that affect you. If there's breaking news, we'll have that. If there's an event, we can have that as well. So something I encourage you to do is, if you have an idea that you think for a segment or something that should be covered, or maybe there's a news story you saw on one of our other shows that you think should do a deeper dive, send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com, fox12 now at kptv.com and send that in to me, and we'll see what we can do. And if there's something you think that should be covered, I'd like to see a segment of, let me know. All right, so for today, though, we are going to continue on with the show. We've got coming up at around 2 p.m., so that's about 15 minutes or so, ish. I believe we're going to be having a press conference with the new Oregon State University football coach, Trent Bray. That was a quick hire. That was a quick turnaround. A lot has happened in the last few days for Oregon State University football, but I believe there's going to be a press conference with him, so we're going to be carrying that live here, so wherever you're watching, we'll have that. If you're watching on social media, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube live, you'll see this video end. We'll be back on at 2 o'clock or so with that, so you'll get a notification. If you're watching on the website or on our apps, we're going to continue on. I've got a little bit more news for you that we'll be doing here in just a few to kind of fill in that gap, some different video news from around the world that we'll be talking about, so plenty more here. And that's it for now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.